Good evening. The time is now 9 p.m. U.S. Central Time. This program is coming to you live from Chicago. And in the news at this hour, CNN reports that Florida will be reopening selected types of businesses throughout much of the state next Monday, according to Governor Ron DeSantis. DeSantis said restaurants and retail spaces could let customers inside, but only at 25% capacity, and people must adhere to social distancing guidelines from the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Restaurants can offer outdoor seating if tables are 6 feet apart. Some rather oddball maneuvers in court in Illinois, with politicians squaring off against each other. An Illinois county judge has ruled that Governor J.B. Pritzker's extended stay-at-home order exceeds his authority and violates individual civil rights. Republican State Representative Darren Bailey filed a motion last week to prevent the Democratic governor from taking any action which orders Darren Bailey to stay at home or limits his ability to travel within the state. That quote taken directly from the lawsuit. Clay County Judge Michael McHaney granted a temporary restraining order Monday against Pritzker's 30-day extension of his statewide stay-at-home order, saying that it shredded the Constitution. The governor had been relying on an April 2nd statewide disaster declaration for the authority to close non-essential businesses and force residents to stay home during the coronavirus pandemic. But here's the oddball part. The judge's ruling only applies to Representative Bailey. What's going on is actually that our governor, J.B. Pritzker, is threatening the very constitutionality of the land we live in, Bailey stated, adding that the law allows the governor to declare a 30-day disaster, but does not explicitly outline whether such a declaration can be extended. Illinois legislatures have also been asleep during this whole time in allowing fear and panic by permitting this governor to do as he wishes, continued the quote. The governor responded to the ruling by accusing Bailey of being blindly devoted to ideology and the pursuit of personal celebrity. More news in just a moment.
While I was lying in an army hospital in Germany, my parents got a letter that said I had 48 hours to live. They even sent a flag to put on my coffin.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I left the military with a traumatic brain injury, and when I got home, I fought depression, anxiety, and alcohol, and had nothing to look forward to.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
With DAV's help, my world changed 100%. I was able to build a new life for myself.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories great and small.
I'm Adam Greathouse, Army veteran.
But there are more victories to be won.
My victory is just feeling alive and experiencing life.
Adam Greathouse. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
3 minutes past 9 o'clock U.S. Central Time, continuing with our news broadcast. From the U.S. Center for Disease Control, the numbers have passed a grim milestone in the past 24 hours. The U.S. has now crossed the 1 million mark of active virus cases at 1,005,147. That is up by 23,900 new cases in the past 24 hours. Estimated deaths now stand at 57,505. As he huddled with advisors on Friday evening, U.S. President Donald Trump was still fuming over his sliding poll numbers and the onslaught of criticism that he was facing for suggesting a day earlier that ingesting disinfectant might prove effective against the coronavirus. Within moments, Trump was shouting, not at the aides in the room, but into the telephone at his campaign manager, Brad Parscale. This, according to 3 people familiar with the matter, reported to CNN. Shifting the blame away from himself, Trump berated Parscale for a recent spate of damaging poll numbers, even at one point threatening to sue. It is not clear how serious the threat of lawsuit against Parscale was. The White House would not immediately respond to a CNN request for comment, and the Trump campaign also declined to comment. Business news on Wall Street today. All three major indexes made moves to the upside. Dow Jones Industrials up 532 points to close at 24,633. NASDAQ closing at 8,914, that's up 306. And the S&P 500 up 76 points, closing at 2,939. Looking at the weather picture, a cold front pushing out of the central U.S. brought thunderstorms into the south today, along with potential flooding from the Appalachians to the northeastern states. Those conditions will continue through tomorrow. Meanwhile, the unseasonable heat wave across the desert southwest will continue, with excessive heat warnings in effect for much of that region. In Chicagoland, April showers are still on the agenda. Rain expected through the night and tomorrow. Overnight low 42, tomorrow's high about 50. Current conditions, misty, rainy, 45 degrees, relative humidity way up there at 94%. Winds out of the north-northwest at 15 miles an hour. Current National Weather Service radar shows Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois right smack under a large bank of rain clouds, and the clouds are not moving much. So the April showers continue. Again, we have 45 degrees in the Windy City. Time is 9:06 p.m.
Live from Chicago, Variety Broadcast presents Radio Classics. Now, here's your host, Tom Edwards.
You got me crying like a boy. I would
One of my favorites. Yours too, I hope. The incomparable and lovely Dionne Warwick, Heartbreaker. Well, hello to you and welcome. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Tom Edwards. You're at Broadcast Classics, coming to you live from Chicago. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you'll pass the word along to your friends. On the YouTube page, we have a group chat mechanism, and we use that to play trivia games and just to chit-chat among one another. So you're welcome to come into the YouTube room, or I see by my website machinery that there are some people listening by way of my personal webpage. Whatever your preference, either one is just fine, whatever you're comfortable with. My friend Sherry was just asking about, do I have an employee? I didn't get your drift at first. So I said, yes, I have an employee. His name is Rocky. That would be my pet cat, Mr. J. Cat Rockefeller. The voice you heard introducing me is a longtime buddy of mine and former co-worker in the radio business, the real terrestrial radio business, which I did for a long, long time, not the internet radio business. And he currently does what is called voiceover work. He records commercials for radio and TV stations, in other words. He's a pretty big guy in Los Angeles, too. You have probably heard him from time to time on some commercial or other. He gets some network deals from time to time. On a lighthearted subject, I was looking over some of the Facebook items shared by friends in the past day or two, and one of them came scrolling by from a friend. It said, "Today is National Pretzel Day." I thought, gee, that that sounds, well, I had to look it up for myself, let's put it that way. And I thought, well, you know, if that's National Pretzel Day, maybe tomorrow will be National Something Else Day. Well, sure enough, I did a little research using Google. How did we ever get along without it? And there is a website that lists every day and all of its designations as to what national or even in some cases international day it is. I guess the Congress must determine these things, or maybe presidents and governors and prime ministers make official declarations. I don't know. But there are all kinds of things going on. Monday was National Prime Rib Day. I'm sorry I missed that. You know, I do actually have a prime rib roast in the freezer because they had such a good sale on them at my corner grocery store a few weeks ago. I couldn't pass it up. Let's see. Now, today is Wednesday, isn't it? Yesterday, Tuesday, was National Superhero Day. Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Captain America, they get a day. Isn't that cool? What about Batman and Robin? No, they were mere mortals, so I don't think they count. Now, let's see. Tomorrow is National Honesty Day. I can think of who should be immediately disqualified from that. I'm sure you don't have to be a psychic to read my mind on that. All right, 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. You want to play trivia? All right, we will do that when we come back, right after this important word from our sponsor.
You can trust your car to the man who wears the star. He's the man best qualified to take care of your car at every Texaco station, clean across the nation. You can trust your car to the man who wears the star, the big, bright Texaco star.
All right, there goes the trivia machine. Spin it around and pull out a good question. There we go. Tonight's grand prize, by the way. Oh, I guess I need to refresh everybody on the rules in case you're new to the game or new to the program. We play for Monopoly money around here. You don't think I'd be nuts enough to give away real money, do you? Monopoly money, and then whoever saves up the most Monopoly dollars at the end of the program will win tonight's grand prize, which is Oriental Avenue. We're giving them out of order, at least in terms of the regular clockwise romp around the Monopoly board. It was an accident. Last night we did Connecticut Avenue, but that's because I made an illegal left turn on Illinois Avenue and they threw me in jail. But now I'm out on good behavior, so we'll do things in the right order. Oriental Avenue is up next. Has a price tag of $100, And with 4 houses, you can collect rent of $400. I promise you there's no balloon mortgage. It's a wonderful deal for your real estate portfolio. Are you all enthusiastic now? Are you champing at the bit to get the question? Here we go. For $20, type the answer on your keyboard and transmit it into the YouTube room. $20. This family of comedians included Leonard, Arthur, and Julius. Now, those were their real names. What stage names do we know them by? $20 trivia question. This family of comedians included Leonard, Arthur, and Julius. Those were their real names. What are the stage names we would all better recognize them by? Music for you now from Old Blue Eyes. He's got the world on a string.
I've got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow, got the string around my finger. What a world, what a life, I'm in love. I got a song that I sing, I can make the rain go anytime I move my finger. Lucky me, can't you see I'm in love? Life is a beautiful thing, as long as I hold the string. I'd be a silly so-and-so if I should ever let it go. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow, got the string around my finger. What a world, what a life, I'm in love. Life is a beautiful thing, as long as I hold the string. I'd be a silly so-and-so if I should ever let it go. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow, got the string around my finger. What a world, man, this is a life. Hey now, I'm so in love.
Sinatra got the world on a string, and congratulations, we got a winner straight off the bat. Scott from Florida. Hooray, hoorah. Scott's on the board with $20, gave the answer correctly to our trivia question. Those 3 comedic brothers whose real names were, where did it go? There we are. Leonard, Arthur, and Julius. In the order that I gave them, they are also known as Chico, Harpo, and Groucho, or we could also accept the answer, the Marx Brothers. Either one works. All right, wonderful. Now, don't go away. We will have more trivia questions coming your way for your chance to win, too. Meantime, let's open up the dictionary and do the word of the day. You wanna? All right. From Merriam-Webster, the dictionary people at m-w.com. The word today is, let's have our robot deliver the word.
Disingenuous.
Yes, thank you, robot voice. One more time.
Disingenuous.
Disingenuous. We got to come up with a name for that robot rather than call him Hey You. What should we call him, Donald? Okay. Well, based on that word, disingenuous, you can understand why that popped into my mind. All right, the definition is lacking in candor, also giving a false appearance of frankness, calculating, deceitful. A disingenuous remark might contain some superficial truth, but it is usually delivered with the intent to deceive or to serve some hidden purpose. The root word, as you can probably guess, is ingenuous, from the Latin adjective meaning native or freeborn, and then they just simply added the dis prefix to create the opposite. So there you have it. Dis is ingenuous and dis is not. Disingenuous from Merriam-Webster, the dictionary people, at m-w.com.
You know, you're not going to leave without saying hello to Diane Carroll. Come out here, honey.
Hi. Diane Carroll, I can't leave
My
without saying
heavens.
not only cannot leave without saying hello to Diane Carroll, but baby,
Frank, you were right at Diane Carroll.
No, I wasn't. As a matter of fact, I think we should do a number together. If I don't, he'll hit me.
Those fingers in my hair, that sly, come hither stare, that strips my conscience bare, it's witchcraft.
And I got no defense for it. The heat is too intense for it. What good would common sense for it do?
'Cause it's witchcraft. That crazy witchcraft. And although I know it's strictly taboo,
When you roused the need in me, my heart said yes indeed in me.
Oh, proceed with what you're leading me to. It's such an ancient fish.
But what we would not switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than you,
and you, and then you, and then you.
I like it, I like it, I like it.
I like it too. I just stumbled upon that by accident browsing around on the internet a day or two ago. It was from the old Dean Martin show, and there you heard Dino along with Frank Sinatra and Diane Carroll, a nice little performance. If a duet is two people, what do you call three? Trio, I guess. A trio singing Witchcraft. They don't make them like they used to, seriously. All right, leafing through my notes here. What else have we got up our sleeves? Here's one. What is cut on a table but is never eaten? These cornball riddles. Somebody ought to smack me, but I get a kick out of them sometimes. What is cut on a table but is never eaten? A deck of cards. Oh, please.
Long John Silver's 3 for the money.
Shrimp, fish, and chicken.
3 for the money in one special dinner. Big shrimp, crispy fish, tender chicken, plus hush puppies, fries, and fresh coleslaw.
Shrimp, fish,
and chicken. 3 for the money at one special price.
Long John Silver's 3 for the money.
Shrimp, fish, and chicken special.
All right, there goes the trivia machine once more with feeling. A $15 question for you up next. And Scott is on the board with $20. Scott from Florida. See if you can catch up now. $15 question, first airing in 1997 and still going strong. The chef, Cartman, and Kenny are all characters from which irreverent, and I do mean irreverent, animated comedy show? First airing in 1997 and still going strong, the chef, Cartman, and Kenny are all characters from which irreverent animated comedy show? No penalties for wrong answers, so take a guess if you wish. Type your answer on your keyboard now. Elton John is up next, a song he calls Bitter Fingers. 24 past 9 at Radio Classics.
I'm going on the circuit. I'm doing all the clubs. And I really need a song, boys, to stir those workers up and get the wives to sing it with me, just like in the pubs. When I worked the good old pubs in Stepney, knock a line or two together for a friend. Sentimental tear-inducing with a happy end. And we need a tune to open our season at South End. Can you help us? It's hard to write a song with bare fingers. So much to prove, so few to tell you why. Those old diehards in Denmark Street start laughing at the keyboard players' hollow-hearted eyes. It seems to me a change is really needed. I'm sick of tra-la-las and la-di-das. No more long days hopping, hopping, stomping, garbage with our fingers never swung. A swinging star, swinging star. I like the warm blue flame, the hazy heat it brings. It loosens up the muscles and forces you to sing. You know it's just another hit and run from the Tin Pan Alley Twins. And there's a chance that one day you might ride a standard labs. So turn them out big and fast, and we'll still pat your backs. 'Cause we need what we can get to launch another dozen acts. Are you working? It's hard to write a song with bit our fingers. So much to prove, so few to tell you why. Those old diehards in Denmark Street start laughing at the keyboard players' hollow-hearted eyes. It seems to me a change is really needed. I'm sick of tra-la-las and la-di-das. No more long days hopping, hopping, stomping, garbage with our fingers never swung. On swinging stars, swinging stars. It's hard to write a song with bit our fingers. So much to prove, so few to tell you why. Those old diehards in Denmark Street start laughing at the keyboard players' hollow-hearted eyes. It seems to me a change is really needed. I'm sick of tra-la-las and la-di-das. No more long days hopping, hopping, stomping, garbage with our fingers never swung. On swinging stars, swinging stars.
Elton John, Bitter Fingers. They kind of sneaked that one into that wonderful recent Elton John movie. If you notice part of the lyric, those old diehards on Denmark Street keep laughing at the keyboard player's haunted hollow eyes. Denmark Street is kind of like London's Tin Pan Alley. It's the big musical circuit where all of the record publishing companies have offices, and a lot of the singers and songwriters have representatives and agents and that kind of thing. And I don't know if it really happened this way or if they just took poetic license with the movie, but if you remember, Elton walked into the agent's office and it was Bernie Taupin sitting behind the desk, and supposedly that's how they met. And if you glanced out the window, you saw the street sign that said Denmark Street. Made me think of Bitter Fingers. And then I think at just that moment they struck up that little bit of the lyric in background music. Very clever. Whoever put it together really knows Elton and his music very well. Well, we're on the half-hour mark, 9:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time, and I was just looking over some memorabilia here. Do you remember the actress Madge Blake, a character actress named Madge Blake? She was just everywhere, one of those perennial actresses who just appeared on everything, both in terms of brief guest appearances and regular performances. She was a regular on Batman. She played Aunt Harriet. She was a regular on the Leave It to Beaver show. She played Larry Mondello's mother. There was a very brief one-season sitcom on CBS in 1960. Angel was the name of it. Now, I was a little bitty kid when that was on, so I don't remember it, but she also played a role in that. I had a recording here. Now, let me see. What did I do with it? Yeah, there it is. I have a recording of her voice in case you still don't know who I mean. I'll bet you'll recognize this voice. Listen.
Hi, Mom. How are you?
Hello, dear. I called to see if you'd gotten my letter.
I sure did. We're certainly looking forward to your visit, too.
I'm not coming.
Not coming?
No. I got to thinking about it, and I realized what a terrible imposition it is, barging in on you like this.
Madge Blake. Just a little swing down memory lane. All right, let's do this, and then we'll come back and give another shot at trivia. How about that? Sounds good to me.
I'll get it. McDonald's Big Mac. The big sandwich with a great big taste that everybody's talking about.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce... Oh, wait a minute.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Oh, got him!
2 all-beef patty, special sauce...
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, sesame seed bun. Got it.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. I got it!
McDonald's Big Mac. Just give us the word.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, cheese, lettuce, pickles, onions on a specially beat it.
You deserve a break today at McDonald's.
Where your dollar gets a break. Every day.
Okay, well, first of all, we've got a trivia question that we need to settle up for. That one went to, let's see, let me scroll back on my screen, make sure I got it right. Okay, Sherry was the correct answer on that one, gave the correct answer. The irreverent comedy show was South Park. Kenny and the chef and Cartman and all of those bad kids. South Park is absolutely right. Okay, next question as we turn on the machine. Ding! This musical icon was shot by an assassin outside the apartment building where he lived, the Dakota Building, in December of 1980. I remember it well. $20 question, $20 in Monopoly money, of course. This musical icon was shot by an assassin outside his apartment building, the Dakota Building, in December of 1980. Type your answer now and win 20 Monopoly bucks. Meantime, here's a pretty one by Placido Domingo and Maureen McGovern.
I love you with a heart that knows no one but you. A love I never thought I'd find.
Love that comes just once and never comes again. A love until the end of time.
I give you all the love I have in me to give. If I could only make you mine.
I love you with a love I've never known before.
there you've had your ration of very serious, very nice music for the day. Isn't that pretty? A Love Until the End of Time, and it's a duet featuring Maureen McGovern and Placido Domingo, a pair of very beautiful, very talented voices. 9:36 p.m., that's 24 minutes till 10 o'clock, U.S. Central Time, and you know how it works. Add an hour for Eastern and subtract an hour for Mountain, 2 hours for Pacific. If you're way, way out in the Hawaiian Islands, why, look at your watch, because I don't know. On this day in history, want to open up your history books and take some notes? Some interesting things happened as we look back. On this date in 2004, the World War II Memorial Museum opens in Washington, D.C. On this date in 2011, Great Britain's Prince William married his longtime girlfriend, Catherine Elizabeth Kate Middleton, at Westminster Abbey. 1,900 guests attended the ceremony, and 1 million spectators lined the streets of London. In 1992, on this date, riots erupted in Los Angeles after 4 L.A. police officers who had been caught 13 months earlier on amateur video beating an unarmed African-American man were acquitted of wrongdoing in the arrest. The man beaten, of course, was Rodney King. In 1854, the first African-American college was established by an act of the Pennsylvania legislature, Ashman Institute in Chester County, Pennsylvania. Created on this date, 1854. 1974, President Richard Nixon announces to the public that he will release transcripts of 46 taped White House conversations in response to a subpoena issued a month earlier. Several months earlier, actually. The House Judiciary Committee accepted the 1,200 pages of transcripts the next day, but insisted that he must also turn over the actual tape recordings. Gosh, you remember that whole business? And his secretary, Rosemary Woods, claiming that she had accidentally erased the tape by stretching her foot out 5 feet to reach the transcript pedal on the dictation machine, and then her right hand was way over here answering the telephone, and I don't know, her head was out in the hallway and her behind was sitting on the chair. They proved that anatomically it was impossible to do what they claimed that she did, to accidentally erase the tapes, but they finally got him. In 1945, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun married only hours before they would both die by suicide. 1863, a lot of stuff happened on this date. 1863, the birth date of newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst. Did he really have a sled named Rosebud, or was that just strictly an invention for the motion picture with Orson Welles? Probably the latter. I don't know. Have you ever seen the Hearst Castle in San Simeon, California? What a wonderful tourist attraction. It is really something else. I mean, how elaborate it is decorated. He did it as a joke. I mean, you know, he was fabulously wealthy, and he did this entire mansion as kind of a memorial to himself, and it's just a ridiculous, gauche, over-the-top, humorous display of wealth. Just, I mean, you know, you would, if it were a real home, you would turn up your nose at it. It's just so overdone, but fabulously expensive. I mean, millions and millions and millions went into it. Even way back then, adjusting for inflation, it cost a fortune. And finally, in 1968, the musical Hair premiered on this date on Broadway. Hey, that's a good idea. Should we have some music from the Broadway show Hair? I've got some here somewhere. There we go. 9:40 p.m., Tom Edwards, your host on Radio Classics. Thanks for tuning in. We have for you now The Fifth Dimension.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. shine. You got to open up your heart and let it shine on in. And when you feel like you've been mistreated and your friends turn it back upon you, just open up your heart, let it shine on in. You got to feel it. You got to feel it. Open up your heart and let it shine on in. Now let me tell you one thing. I want you to sing along with the fifth dimension. Hey, and open up your heart. Come on. And let it shine. Every day. Hey, you got to feel it.
Yes, let the sun shine in. Get a little ultraviolet light action going. Gargle with pine sol. and that's how you get rid of the virus. Yes, indeed. I guess I shouldn't laugh about it, but what else are you going to do? Well, speaking of laughs, that you know, to keep things in a lighthearted vein was the entire reason I thought of doing this internet radio show each weeknight. So if you like it, I hope you do. Pass the word along to your friends and tell them to tune in. And I've looked on my website counter. There are a number of people who are listening on that avenue rather than coming into the YouTube room, and that's just fine. Now, whatever you're comfortable with, I'm just pointing it out so everybody knows there are a couple of different ways to listen. And however you decide to do it, I appreciate it. All right. Now, let's see. Let me bring you up to date on the trivia score. I think we had one round go by where I forgot to announce the winner. Scott answered correctly, and he collects another $20. Yeah, boy. The singer who was assassinated outside of his home, I remember it well. I was at work the night it happened, December of 1980. It was John Lennon, shot by was it Mark David Chapman? Was that the name of the assassin in that case? I think it was. Outside the Dakota Hotel in New York City. All right, well, let's do another question. We've got time for one more. Scott is in the lead now with $40. Sherry in second place with $15. And here we go. Let's crank up the machine. Round and round and round she goes. And out comes the next question. And it's an audio question, my favorite. All right, the mid-1960s comedy from which I am about to play the theme song was about a small family-operated hotel in a tiny rural town. I can't play too much of the theme song because the lyrics will give it away. You know, the lyrics have the name of the show in it, so I can only play you a snippet. All right, so listen carefully. Turn your volume up just a little bit. $20 trivia question. This mid-1960s TV comedy was about a small, family-operated hotel in a tiny rural town. The theme song goes like this.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the...
Give it a shot. Take a guess now.
Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. Don't tell me not to fly, I simply got to. If someone takes a spill, it's me and not you. Who told you you're allowed to rain on my parade? I'll march my band out, I'll beat my drum, and if I'm found out, your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. I guess I didn't make it, but whether I'm the rose of sheer perfection or freckle on the nose of life's complexion, the cinder or the shiny apple of its eye, I gotta fly once, I gotta try once, only can die once, right, sir? Ooh, life is juicy, juicy, and you see I'm gonna have my bite, sir. Get ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march my my heart's a drummer. Don't bring around a cloud of rain on my parade. I'm gonna live and live now. Get what I want, I know how. One roll for the whole shebang. One throw that bell with no clang. Eye on the target and wham. One shot, one gunshot and bam. Hey, Mr. Arnstein, here I am. I'll march my band out. I'll beat my drum, and here comes Banda. Turn at bats, at least I didn't fake it, hats. Guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march my heart to drum. I know, nobody is gonna rain on
And when Streisand sings it, it has been sung. Don't Rain on My Parade. Now, I think that's from Funny Girl, isn't it? And wasn't her love interest in that movie Nicky Arnstein? And wasn't he played by Omar Sharif? So we got a fodder for a million trivia questions there. If you're a Streisand fan and a movie buff, why, you would probably know these things. I'm trying to do it from memory, and I'm not entirely sure. And I could, of course, Google it, but that would be cheating. And I know that when we're playing trivia here, we're not supposed to cheat. Naughty, naughty. All right, Sherry was the first one to ring in with the correct answer a while ago, so she picks up another quick $20. Yeah, boy. Come ride a little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Petticoat Junction. All right, that was good for 20. But still, Sherry didn't quite catch up. Our closing totals for the night. Scott has won the game with $40, and Sherry hot on his heels with 35, but we'll have a nice round of applause for all of our players. Yeah, boy. I have managed to get my hands on a lot of good new music. Now, if you happen to read it on my Facebook page, I am now officially licensed by the American Society of Composers and Performers, ASCAP, and the payment of my license entitles me to play anything in their catalog, and it's huge. It contains literally millions of tunes. So that's really great, because I was getting tired of listening to Old MacDonald and Three Blind Mice every third recording, but now we've got the whole world at our fingertips. We've got the world on a string, like Sinatra said a while ago. So I'm going to play this nice one for you now. This is a group called Keane. It's really Keane, yeah, Keane. You might know this one. The title of it is Somewhere Only We Know. Nice little ballad. I hope you enjoy it.
Sat by the river and it made me complete. Oh, simple thing, where have you gone? I'm getting old and I need something to rely on. So tell me when you're gonna let me in. I'm getting tired and I need somewhere to begin. I came across a fallen tree. I felt the branches of it looking at me. Is this the place we used to love? Is this the place that I've been dreaming of? Oh, simple thing,
Our secret clubhouse, how somewhere only we know. The singing group is called Keen, brought to you here on Radio Classics with your host, Tom Edwards. Just about time to check out for the night. I was talking a little while ago about that character actress, Madge Blake, you remember? And I remembered one of her guest starring appearances, the I Love Lucy episode, where Lucy had promised to get hold of Superman to come entertain the kids at Little Ricky's birthday party. The whole plot was that Little Ricky and Lucy's girlfriend's child, Stevie Appleby. The Applebys had a little boy comparable in age to Ricky. Their birthdays were very close together, and Lucy wanted to do a game of one-upmanship and have all the kids come to Little Ricky's party, so she promised that she would get Superman to come entertain the children. And if you remember the episode, she wound up having to dress like Superman herself, and she's climbing out on the ledge, going to do an entrance through the window, the living room, with all the kids for the birthday party. But meanwhile, the Mertzes had a couple of prospective tenants who came to look at one of the vacant apartments. And the lady was played by Madge Blake, the character I was talking about. And at one point, Lucy goes walking past the window when they're looking at the vacant apartment in the Mertz's building, and she lets out a scream, Madge Blake does. Her husband says, "What's the matter, dear? I saw something out the window." And you can just guess what the dialogue was. He says, "Oh, really? Was it a bird?" "No." "Was it a plane?" "No." "Well, what was it?" "It was Superman." I'm a little bit hoarse tonight, and I can't quite do justice to that voice, but the late Madge Blake. Should go light a candle for her or something, huh? She was a cutie. All right, my theme song is striking up in the background, so that is my cue to exit stage right. But listen, thanks a lot for tuning in, and pass the word among your friends on the internet if you wish. I would appreciate it, and thanks in advance. I cooked up the idea of doing this to help pass the time and lift our spirits so that we don't, wind up killing each other with cabin fever. So if you enjoyed it, why, pass the word along.